Alright, hey everybody. I want to kick off a series of movements we can do with a mace with an offset, using the unique properties of the mace, some offset variations. We're going to start with the press here. So what's nice about the mace is we have this offset movement, kind of like a kettlebell, but I'm holding on to the mace in two different places. So what does the mace want to do? It wants to tip. So I have to kind of push and pull and hold this naturally or hold this neutrally here in this position to create that nice leverage, a nice challenge for it. So what some people will do with the mace is they'll hold too far out, have a really long mace, and then it ends up being something where I'm really getting a lot of extra torque on my wrists and elbows. Or the alternatively, maybe something way too heavy, somebody will hold it really close and it's just way too heavy and they're not getting any of the offset benefits pressing this way. So there's a nice kind of Goldilocks sweet spot effect. So like for me, for example, this mace is just going to be too light. So kind of a nice guideline. For example, for me, doing based off of my kettlebell press, I can pretty easily do 10 reps with a 53-pound kettlebell, 24 kg. So my nice probably starting point with the mace is about 25 pounds because it is a unique, different kind of tool that way. So we want to get the core more active. Anything offset is going to active or cause reactive kind of functions with the core. We work our rotator cuff a little bit differently. Our brain gets fed a little bit differently as well. So kind of consider all those things. So usually I'll start down in this kneeling position, or we can do this half kneeling. So be tall kneeling to create a little simpler base for me to create tension, get my glutes on, and basically not overarch or sink back and kind of hunch up. I want to keep everything nice and stacked and neutral here. So show you a couple from the side and from front. Again, this is going to be too light for me here, so I can start to challenge this out here, but then it's going to become so much of a pulling laterally unless I'm really trying to work my core for some reason, want to get some interesting wrist and elbow, but I find it's hard. The torque, the torsion on my elbows get to be a lot, and the wrists just get to be too much of a work to be done there, and not enough strengthening. It becomes so minimal that way that it becomes something we don't want to work with. So I could use something heavier here, like for me, around this 25 pounds, starts to do a little bit more work, a little bit more value to pressing here. Okay, so nice groove, looking relatively straight ahead on the side too. I don't want to be scrunched down like this. I want to be in tall posture, pressing up over my head. Again, I can switch to this. This creates a little bit more stability laterally. If I have one leg up here, I have to stabilize a little bit differently. I want to be able to own all these positions here. Press. Okay. And then be able to work up to where I'm standing here. And one other little tip too. So maybe you only have a 10-pound mace. What I could do with that is actually put a kettlebell or a dumbbell on the end of the mace. You can just slide it on there, here, down the mace, here, and quite a bit more core work, and still enough of a challenge. Again, that kind of push and pull adds a nice element, nice creative groove for that. Kind of a nice bridge between kettlebell movements or other kind of odd loading, and they actually use a barbell because both hands are on the mace. So it might be a nice bridge you can play around with there. So some nice options. And again, remember those guidelines, at least maybe a little less than half of your weight you would do on a single arm kettlebell press or barbell press. So there you have it. There's the mace offset press. And we can stay tuned. We got some more good offset variations to share with you for some other strength alternative movements with the mace.